Hello everyone. Welcome to Studio AquaDream from sunny Vietnam. Well, today is the second part of our Iwagumi project. Today the most interesting part is planting plants. Also today you and I will connect the filter. And today I will show you my C system. OH2, all the parts that are attached to it. And also today we will connect it. Fill the aquarium with water. And let's see the final result. Like I said earlier, today in this draft Iwagumi, I will only use Monte Carlo. And a little higher grass Monte Carlo I have 11 trays 10. At 5 centimeters, and before I plant Monte Carlo I need its whole pull out of these trays. Clean from the sponge in which it is sold. Very long and painstaking process. So let's get started soon. And I will speed up the video so that you do not fall asleep. Well, what friends, I'm done. The whole process I did not shoot because this turned out really long. Sponge in which they are sold. These plants were very poorly cleaned. Somewhere it was easy to clean her, somewhere it was quite difficult. In general, as much as I could so much took it off, left somewhere at all. Here let's say higher grass. Here in general the sponge barely scrubs off in general. I will try to clean small pieces before landing. Still extra, and if it does not clean up I will plant right like this. Hope it's a sponge. Will not spoil plant growth in water much. Well, what to do? In Vietnam, this is how plants are grown on farms. It's uncomfortable in such sponges. In gel of course plant. Much cleaner, more convenient to use. And there is no such time spent preparing them. Well, that 11 trays. Monte Carlo 3 trays. Higher grass, and by the way completely forgot, I still have one more plant, which I took and will use it too. Now I will show. Here's me also deciding to take up a ghostman. Here with the C system, O2 it will definitely grow. That's why she's short too. Really pretty. Think of where I will plant. Well, let's start landing. Friends, I completely forgot. What I have same biohumus. Vermicast I also used in my first Iwagumi. Round aquarium. Where I have Monte Carlo grows perfectly without filing. Hole 2 I think. That biohumus is very good fueling and also helps the roots. Monte Carlo will catch on and sprout fast. But since aquarium soil I was already falling in his hole, everything 10L used. I have just a little bit more aquarium soil. What will I do now? I will pour a thin layer of biohumus. I will deepen it a little bit as far as I can. And on top of a thin layer pour aquarium solo. Thereby slightly deepen the stones. What I think will be even better. So now you need to spray everything with water profusely. Since the whole sprayer I have is small, for that size, I will use my watering hose with spraying function. That will be much faster. Well that friends, let's go. Planting plants. The main thing is not to tear your back. Friends, look what beauty turned out. Just look at you. It's just super beautiful. I have not seen planting yet, but when I looked from afar, emotions were just going wild. For the sake of such emotions, it is worth trying. Just unrealistically beautiful. Just look at this landscape and imagine in for 6 months when Monte Carlo grows. How beautiful it will be. There will be no black gaps. Well, beauty, by the way, Monte Carlo. I had enough skull cap. I'm straight accurate. Quantity bought. Here a little. The bald part turned out. But these gaps are big. I still have hard grass. So here are these big gaps here, and here under the stones. Her Grayson. Well, what friends, planting plants is finally done. Back I didn't rip off. I'm okay. But of course tired. But more to come. Me to show you the CO system too. Connect her and connect the filter and fill the aquarium with water. Me and hair grass everywhere around pebbles. One more tray I have left, but I already did not plant. I think quite this is enough bagagement. I thought for a long time to plant it or not, but since it grows from the CO system too, In this aquarium I have the first which with the CO system too, so I have nowhere to put it, otherwise it will die. Therefore, you need to put it somewhere. In general, I put it here, mixed with Monte Carlo. Here in the center, starting in the background. And ahead here is there 1 bush or 2 bushes. Here also hard grass around pebbles. Well, super. So friends, system CO2 for our aquarium. It means here I actually have a balance, it's at 3L. It's enough, but I think for 3 maybe for months. And then you just have to take him, and for a little money it will be back to collect gases. It means the cylinder itself is 3L. Here I have the reactor itself with 2 manometers. High pressure and low pressure. Here they are too. Next is solenoid fork. The fork will go off in the timer. That is, the feed system CO2 will work on a timer. An hour before the light is turned on, the supply CO2 will turn on. And an hour before going off, light automatically supply CO2 will be off. And solenoid in this regard will help. Next, I immediately bought a wiring for 3 aquariums, since there will be 2 more in the future. On the same side, that is 1, 2, 3 wiring for 3. These are closed for now, will open only. For our aquarium, here right means it's a gas bubble counter. The actual tube itself, we will let down the diffuser. That's such a little pretty. Along with the diffuser I bought a set. That's a fuse. From getting water from the aquarium into the system K2. And also this is the kind of tube here was in the set. That's the kind of tube which sits on the wall of the aquarium. That is, it will protect. Tube from flexing. From glass. And won't block serve as many as 2. Actual suckers. Level counter. As many as 2 in the water. Here with it liquid. That is, by color. Reagent we will determine what level of CO2 in the aquarium and control it. Well, that's actually all this with CO2. You could still of course freeze and buy a reactor, which directly falls into the CO2. They're shuffling, then the filter hits. They're shuffling too, and already in completely dissolved form goes out to the aquarium. Of course you could freeze on it. But about the reactor, I'm not sure yet, since I have a breeding for 3 aquariums. 3 aquariums per reactor. This is too much, so we will use without a reactor. Well, also I think that is quite good. Insoluble bubbles. Gas that will rise to the surface of the water. And will also suck an extra skimmer, which I showed you, on filter tube. Also I took another extra skimmer like this, but he is pretty big bulky. I am not sure if I want to insert it into that aquarium. Let's see if 1 skimmer won't be enough. Either the water flow will not be enough to mix C. OH2. around the perimeter of the water. Then in the future it is possible, and I will use this skin until I install it. Well, let's connect everything. And already in the connected form I get you already at the end. I will show everything again. Well, what friends, everything is connected. First time connecting C system, OH2. So it was exciting, like I'm working with a bomb. But I hope that I connected everything tightly. Right, and everything will work well. So it means bubble counter. Added liquid inside. Tube went. Fuse. Tube fuse here and diffuser itself. Filter means water flow. Water output over diffuser. Bubbles will rise and the stream of water will be carried deep away into the water and mix. Also those bubbles that will run away will get here in Scimmer and go away filter and shuffle there. Well, like this system turned out. The filter itself, already ready. This time, additional clamps for the tube were also attached. The top part once squeezed. Here's this clamp. When I let the water filter, it will be filled and you can turn it on. Well, what friends, wish me luck. Starting to turn everything on. I hope that everything will work. For well that friends, finally CO2 system earned. Bubbles went. Probably immediately on the 5th I was able to run. Here they are becoming more and more. But even though, what did I just CO to turn on? See fresh? Monte Carlo is already bubbling like. The water is really still quite muddy, but it will filter out soon. More and more bubbles. Is great. But CO2 I will disable now. Of course at night it won't work. Light I will turn off and set the timer. By which CO2 tomorrow will turn on an hour before the lights turn on and will turn off automatically an hour before the lights turned off. Well, I will make the final video in a few days. When the water gets completely filtered out, will become crystal clear and see with you the final result. Well, what about friends? It's been 7 days since this aquarium was launched. I wanted to make a final video of this aquarium when the water becomes crystal clear and pulled this moment to that. How the brown algae began to appear. That is, the brown algae stage has begun. It usually shows up in the 2nd week, but here it stepped early. And unfortunately, in pure beautiful form, this aquarium will fail today. I will show you this. What to eat is at the stage of the 2nd week. You could of course wait a few more weeks and do beautiful video final. But wait a few more weeks and not want and leave you without videos and without the final result. and for another 3 weeks also do not So today we will look at him, what it looks like for the second week, and in general its finishing beauty will only come in about 4 months or even 6 months. So in any case you will have to wait a long time until its final beauty. So let's tell you a little. What happened to it in these 7 days? So well that for 7 days. Look how much photosynthesis happens. How many oxygen bubbles rise. By Monte Carlo means Monte Carlo as always in the car project. Starts. Take root. Takes root it is slower than say choreographer. And as always at the initial stage, he's starting to reset. Old leaves, the ones that were in air uniform. That is, some of the leaves begin to rot. He resets them, and immediately new fresh leaves appear. Judging by the oxygen bubbles, you can understand that photosynthesis pass. Very successful and fast. But despite the stage of brown algae cannot be avoided, it passes always. And most of all, brown algae appears in exactly an Iwagumi project. If you remember my round aquarium with Iwagumi project, there was also a brown algae stage. And during this stage I wasn't even in town. I was leaving for 5 days. And despite what I didn't change the water. All these 5 days and there was brown algae and it overgrown almost everything. Despite this it also left quickly over time. And Monte Carlo covered all bottom fresh green leaves. So this stage just needs to be experienced. Needs some time. Here if you see, if the camera passes you, here's brown algae starting to appear on plants. And on the stones. A little bit here from below on the stones. Here you see at Monte Carlo. Upper ones. Leaves rot. They just rot. Stalks and fall off. And immediately new ones appear in their place. Let's say for example, here's this leaf of Monte Carlo. If you notice, at the place where the old leaf and stem came off rotten, over the growing already new. Twilight looks not that presentable, how it will look in the future. But it's just the second week. If you look at speed of development here graph, look how fast in 7 days the bushes have grown. Look how many new green leaves appeared. He's getting higher. Greener than furries, and it already began to grow in different directions. Here if you notice, leaves are already starting to appear on the sides. See, a lot of fluffy became. Then 7 days ago, when I first pewed it down, already looks much prettier. Also slightly algae appear on the stones. And when I change the water, I just clean pebbles gently with a toothbrush. And they're still clean. So CO2 in all works. Here's bubbles. CO to rise up. Carried away immediately by the stream. Water from the filter. Here also I have a Scimmer working. He sucks in yourself the whole biofilm on top. And also those bubbles. Carbon dioxide which rose to the surface. He is near. He also sucks them in. They go through a filter and completely in dissolved form. Go back out to the aquarium. Also like you, remember I told you what I ordered Scimmer. In general, I tried to install a Scimmer in that corner. Toy carried away also stream. And those bubbles, which did not dissolve, swam to this corner. Back this way. And like this in a circle. They would have to swim to the point until they completely dissolve in water. But Scimmer, this one, which I bought, he ended up in first to big and second to powerful. Water flow from it too strong, and I didn't like him. In general, I cleaned it and I ordered another Scimmer mini. Quite small. He should come to me soon. I'll put it in this corner. Like I told you before, this is my first aquarium with COH2, and I first time worked with CO2 system. And with the first problem I faced. The first days to days I couldn't understand. Why does my phone knock out? That's because of that fuse. Then knocked out the phone from here to the diffuser. In general I couldn't get it. Whether I'm doing something wrong with the pressure from the tank. Either I winded something up in the regulators. In general, in the end I realized, what did I use the wrong tube? Despite that the seller at the cellar was written. What is this tube for COH2? It totally didn't go near the C. About to system it was too soft. And loosely sat on the tubes and on the fuse. That is, it was calmly knocked out by gas pressure. I changed this tube here for such a durable. Transparent. It sat down perfectly, very tightly held tight. And now I have no problems. System CO2 disables automatically. An hour before the lights turn on, it turns on. Bubbles went. And an hour before the lights turn off, it automatically turns off. That is serving C. Why to stops? On bubble counters. So far I have 1 bubble set per second. Or I would even say 1.5 per second, judging by the speed. In general, my volume is 9 for L of this aquarium. I'm not sure exactly how many bubbles still COH2 I need. I think that this filing one. Either 1.5 bubbles per second is quite enough, because the C level indicator, OH2 shows. The color is green and I checked the pH. pH I have 7. That is, there's no strong decrease in the pH of water. I will observe in the future how well the plants will grow. If you need to increase the number bubbles per second, serving CO2 I will increase, but judging by how active photosynthesis is. Look how many bubbles. How much oxygen rises. I think what? 1.5 bubbles per second is enough. Bagajaman as well as Monte Carlo dropped old leaves. They are rotted and fallen. New green ones appeared. That is, it will grow, change shape, and it seemed to me. Here I planted 1 small bush and already grew up 2nd row. If I'm not wrong, but it seems to me that I planted 1 with so active photosynthesis, of course. I wouldn't be surprised if 2 Bagagemans appeared in 1 week. You could certainly make a dry start. Wait at least 5 weeks. And only then fill the aquarium with water. When Monte Carlo will fully cover, all bottom will become beautiful. Roots grow into a substrate. It will grow, will become tightly held. But you understand yourself. 5 weeks is too long for me. Well, what are friends, that's all. And follow the evolution of this aquarium, we will be together. And in the future, I want to post a series of photos, first week and up to 6th month. After 6 months, when will this aquarium shine its full beauty? We will see how it evolved over time. But not to miss it, subscribe to my channel. Be sure to like this video if you like my new project. Also, don't forget that I made a list of almost all the materials and tools which I use for aquariums, which you can also buy on AliExpress and order yourself in Russia or 2 other countries. So go to the description under this video, follow the links, and make your purchases. Also in these links you will find lamps, which I use for all my round aquariums. You asked me a lot about them. Also, you will be able to find some round aquariums. Not the greatest, but they are still there. Well, what is ahead of us new projects? See you again, bye-bye.